everyone. Welcome to another episode of our podcast, The Inspiring Encounters. I, Ibrahim,
And I, Tiara.
are your host for this special episode. Today, to honor World Climate Action Day, we are diving deep into one of the most important conversations of our generation. We are thrilled to have a true change maker who has not only championed the cause of sustainable mobility, but also actively working to make our city healthier and greener. We extend a very warm welcome to Ms. Firoza Dadan, Mumbai's first bicycle mayor, the founder of Smart Commute Foundation, and a pioneer of sustainable mobility.
You know, Ibrahim, with cycling as her mission and passion, Miss Firoza has made her life's work to promote sustainable transportation. With her initiatives like the Cycle to Work and the Cycle Chala City Bacha campaign, aim to transform how we commute. Today, we are here to learn from her journey and discover how we, as citizens and learners, can contribute to a cleaner and greener future. Welcome to the podcast, Miss Firoza.
Thank you, JBCN, for having me over for this podcast today.
Tiara, did you know that Mumbai's air quality index has recently surpassed Delhi's? It really makes us realize how urgent and impactful steps are necessary to make sure we can work towards a carbon neutral city by 2050.
That's true. So many of us worry about our future. And as young people, we want to be part of the solution. Miss Firoza, you've made the bicycle as your tool for change. So, could you tell us what led you to choose the bicycle as your weapon of choice?
Basically, it started off when I was very young. Um, knowing the fact that I have a bicycle, I could go to college, cycle to college. It was an amazing feeling, to have your own freedom on a bicycle when you're young. Not knowing that I'm contributing towards the environment and also saving money, because at that point of time, climate change, all of the problems which you all just mentioned, the pollution, it was not the buzzword. Cut to when I started cycle to work, when I was my distance between my home to office about 12 kilometers distance, and I had a bicycle by then. I said, okay, fine, this is the easiest way to travel. But during that time, I guess it was the newspapers, they started writing about people like us who cycle to work in Mumbai city. And there were conversations about Amsterdam and all of those cities. And I was wondering if there are cities like Amsterdam, Copenhagen, Denmark, who have evolved around cycling. What stops a city like us? And that's where it got me thinking. And we started off with smaller conversations because we really didn't know what step needs to be taken. Because if I'm not from academia, see, I am not done a transport planning or an urban planning course, which means I need to really understand how do we need to get the whole movement of cycling. So the only language I knew was the cycle to work language, and we started off creating lot of initiatives. We did a bicycle flash mob at Bandra railway station on this wonderful song of Amir Khan, Jo Jeeta Wo Sikandar. You all must have heard about that song. And then we created the India's first cycle to work event. We know about cyclothons, we know about all these critical mass events, but cycle to work event was new for India. And we had this wonderful hotel, Sofitel at BKC. They said we are open to host all these cyclists. We had close to 350 cyclists on a Friday morning, pledging their, that they will cycle at least once a week to their office. So that was a beginning. So I guess that motivation really brought about a thought process that we can continue creating more awareness within Mumbai city that cycles exist, and we need to at least use the bicycle for short distance commute. And for me, it was more about freedom, for my health, and of course, more of to do with environment, which was very, very important when we talk of when we want to take this legacy forward for the younger generation.
That's so inspiring. Speaking of your initiatives, we'd love to hear about your exceptional work with establishing the Smart Commute Foundation. Can you tell us more about its goals, especially the Cycle Chala City Bacha campaign that evolved after the pandemic?
There was nothing like a thought process to start my own NGO, first of all, because frankly speaking, I was just having fun with just building up the awareness among the Mumbaikars that they can, use their bicycles for commuting, specifically commuting because leisure is more about taking care of your fitness and everything. Um, Smart Commute Foundation was founded in 2016. Um, and I'm thankful to the ex-municipal commissioner of Mumbai, which is Ajay Mehta. He kind of supported us at that point of time that Firoza, you need to continue this particular movement. Cycle to work is what came in naturally for us. We started the whole campaign of cycle to work. And we also created a lot of these pop-up bicycle lanes, which was from Nariman Point to from NCPA to Chopati, which is known as Pedal Up Mumbai. That again was an initiative by the local municipal corporation. So all of these initiatives were happening simultaneously. So 2019 is when I got heavy duty title of Bicycle Mayor of Mumbai. And I guess around that time, the pandemic hit us. Um, but one thing which I would say it was a boon for cycling because people really wanted to have good immunity. So people started walking, cycling. So immunity, when they get good immunity, it is good for them. And during that time, there was 35% increase of cycling which happened globally, including in India. And the momentum had to be sustained. As a bicycle mayor of Mumbai, I was a lone ranger when it comes to being the flag bearer, you can say, and we were promoting cycling in every nook and corner of Mumbai city. But the dynamics are so difficult because there are 24 million people staying in Mumbai city. And how do we reach out to each one of them that, okay, now you have a bicycle, your family has a bicycle, now start utilizing it because now you have time, right? You're working from home, you're saving time on the transportation, 3 hours of transportation back and forth, which you are doing on a daily basis. And that's the time we thought that we need to have more hands and legs, a kind of a leadership program. So Mumbai has 24 wards and we opened up a application for appointing bicycle counselors, which means 24 bicycle counselors were appointed in Mumbai city under the campaign called Cycle Chala City Bacha. So cycle to work, it was very specific towards commuting. Cycle Chala City Bacha was more of an umbrella campaign where we wanted each and every Mumbaiker should ride a bicycle. Now whether it is for commuting, whether it is for leisure, whether just going to run errands, because during COVID, the problem was that you couldn't go far off anywhere because of the lockdown implications. You could just go to a nearby um, your shops to just pick up some bread or egg and everything. But cycle was the easier vehicle to do all of that. So yeah, Cycle Chala City Bacha, we had 24 bicycle. We had an application. 150 Mumbaikars applied for it, and the criteria was that you should be living in that particular ward. If you are Ward T, which is Mulund, then you should be living in Mulund to be a bicycle counselor. And with that, we had around 24 of them appointed, more of a very leadership role, so that you take care of your own ward, individual ward. There was a lot of work because there was a lot of the back end work which came around that time. Because each and every councillors used to do about three ward rides within their wards, and we made it more fun and engaging. So we said, okay, fine, if you want to do 2 or 3 wards rides between Mulund, Bhandup and Ghatkopar, you all can do all of that and have those fun. We had Halloween rides, more engaging, getting more families. We had more Day rides, your Independent Day ride, your 31st December, the New Year. So more, because there was pandemic going on, and why do people need to just sit at home? They can come out and enjoy on the bicycles. So that's basically the movement of Cycle Chala City Bacha, which we really enjoyed. And we had the whole of Mumbai became like a small family for us. like a small community for us, because we now got to know each and every nook and corner, like a Dhaisar to a Borivali to a Malad. We knew all the cyclists because it became a huge big family for us during pandemic. That's what we could achieve, because we really wanted to uh, bring about the change very quickly, trying to understand how people commute in Mumbai city. Getting all of this community together means we have a singular voice to try and do collective change making within Mumbai city.
What a truly impactful initiative. But many people still find it hard to cycle every day. So, do you think we can encourage more realistic and adaptable approaches for cycle to work, and especially for those who think cycling isn't feasible in cities like Mumbai?
Absolutely. So it's very interesting. If you look at a bicycle, you can use a bicycle for leisure fitness. You can use a bicycle for commuting, generally from point A to point B, which is a very purposeful ride because you are trying to achieve go to a place where you have some work or meetings or whatever. Then you have then you can use a bicycle for competition. Your Tour de France, where they have these, the multi-day tours. Then you can use your bicycle for endurance, right? Or people use it for multi-day tour. Like recently, I did a 1,300 kilometers bicycle ride from Mumbai right up till Gujarat, Kutch. So yeah, so that's so interesting that a bicycle can do all of that. But when you talk about commuting, uh, in Mumbai, in cities specifically, in rural and cities specifically, there are various challenges, specifically when it comes to road infrastructure. Then people say there's a lot of traffic on the road. Then they're talking about fatalities if anybody gets injured on the road. But the interesting statistics, if I give you the statistic, in Mumbai, most of the fatalities of cyclists have happened during the leisure hours, not during commute hours. Commute hours is basically when there's so much of traffic that average speed of the vehicle is around 15 to 20, and that's not where the accidents could take place. It's only when the roads are empty, that's where the vulnerability during around the junctions become very very high. So yes, there are all these challenges when it comes to cycle to work. And also another challenge is when you say there is no infrastructure, I mean in terms of the hardware. Where is the cycle stands, where is the cycle track, where is the shower facilities within the offices? So all of these challenges does exist. But what we are saying is that we're not talking about people traveling 25 kilometers per day on a bicycle. We're talking about short distance commute, which is 7 to 8 kilometers, which is easily doable on a bicycle. And for that, you do not require a shower facility where you need to just, when you come to office and you need to have a shower and go back to, your workplace. So yeah, I guess cycle to work, when you talk about short distance commute, is possible.
On that note, how can we as citizens and learners contribute and work alongside the local governments and authorities to make sustainable mobility more visible, safe, and effective?
So that's a very good question. And most important to understand is that a person like me who is not come from the academia, which means I'm not an urban planner or a transport planner, which is very, very important to understand how we need to create a sustainable mobility plan. First, most important thing is that we have a DP plan, which is a development plan for a city, which we have 24 wards in Mumbai city, and we have the development plan. Above that, to have a cycle network plan is very very crucial when it comes to cycling per se. I'm talking. Now we know that we have a Mulund station, we know we have a Bandung station, we know there are metros which is coming up now. We know there are bus stations. We know all of that exists in the DP plan. Over and above that, if we are planning to have a cycle network plan, that's a very technical work which we are talking about, which is also will require budgets, right? When we talk to government, we talk to authorities, when we reach out to all of them, that would like a metro which is coming to for our city. Of course, there is infrastructure, there is hardware, there is all of that budgets, crores of budgets which are going in. Similarly, when it comes to cycling, there needs to, if not 100, if not 1000 CR, even if we are talking about say 100 CR, a 100 CR budget needs to go into a non-motorized transportation policy making. This is called NMT policy making, which needs to be done. Um, Having said that, because that's something which the budgets needs to be allocated on that. What as a foundation we've been working is more towards creating more ridership, because the government says, I will give you a cycle track right away in Mulund, for example, near JBCN school, around that you will get a cycle track. But if the students, JBCN students or the local people out here do not use the cycle track, what will happen to it? It's an underutilized infrastructure, which means all the monies which has gone to create the cycle track is underutilized. So what we do is specifically work creating more ridership, which means we will first look into how many education institutes are there in Mulund, how many commercial organizations, how many societies, how many ALMs, how many of those we will be able to sensitize them and tell them that, okay, fine, this is the next step. We are planning to have a cycle track or all of this, the cycle network plan for Ward T. Will you use that cycle track for your ward or for your city, which is very important to get a survey done. Until unless we do not do that, then again we come to the thing that it's an underutilized infrastructure. So yes, it is important that if we really want the younger generation, the school kids and the college kids to get on the bicycle, because it's somewhere it is unsafe, because you are sharing the road with the motorized transportation. To have your own cycle track is an ideal situation, but it has to be overutilized, which means there has to be constant movement of cycling which needs to be done within that space. When it comes to interventions, when it comes to technical drawings, we had suggested that the cycle track should come below the metro pillar. Now, the metro pillars, left and right of that could be a cycle track, which is a fantastic solution for Mumbai city, because Mumbai city is linear. Our city is like this. So, if we start a ride, say from one LBS Marg, say from Vikroli, you can reach Mulund using that particular metro pillar bidirectional. So, these are all kind of solutions for the Mumbai, for the city. But of course, it requires a lot of work in that space, lot of policies, and even the authorities should combine. There has to be a collective work which needs to be achieved in that space.
That's a great advice. However, there's a real fear on Mumbai roads between bad infrastructure, unpredictable weathers, and traffic. Cycling seems daunting. How can we overcome these barriers?
So that's I've done a lot of space in this particular work, specifically with the livelihood cyclists. So we've interviewed close to about 100 of these dabba wala, doodh wala, istri wala, because they are also using the same infrastructure. Okay, when it comes to cycling, and just a simple question to them is how challenging is it for you to cycle in Mumbai city, given that infrastructure problem? And what are they? It's very important to ask them what are the challenges they face. So very simple questions, simple answers they had. One is of course the infrastructure, the amount of potholes which we face. Second is the encroachment, which means the people who are supposed to walk on the footpath, because it is encroached, they are walking on the road, which means they have to maneuver the pothole and they have to maneuver people also, which are walking on the road. And the third, because of the food delivery apps, now we have all the bikers and they ride on the opposite side of the road. So if a biker is coming from the opposite side of the road, which means a cyclist have to maneuver that. Now these three were very clear challenges for a dabbawala, doodwala, the livelihood cyclist. And you know, we've kind of interviewed about more than 100 of them. And each one of them I asked, what about the vehicular traffic? What about the bikers, the the bus, the BST bus, and the motorized transportation? All of them said that is not a challenge. वो हमारा challenge नहीं है, because they are sharing the road, and the traffic, as I told, is 15 to 20. You know, it's that's the speed which they are going in. So they're never threatened by a motorized transportation. So even if given the challenges, um, it is quite easy to ride a bicycle in Mumbai city during commute hours, which is much more comfortable.
On the topic of new solutions, do you think electric bikes are a viable solution for reducing carbon emissions in cities like Mumbai? And could public bike sharing systems also be a solution for Mumbai?
Great. So you've asked about electric and you've talked about public bike sharing. Electric bicycles definitely is alternate to motorized transportation. If you're using a car or a bike which is run on petrol or diesel, uh, I would say even a long distance commute of close to 25-30 kilometers uh, can be easily done on e-bike, given that there is enough of congestion during the peak hours. You know, people complain, oh, there's so much of traffic, but you have a solution. You can either use a e-bike for that distance, from going from point A to point B. Okay, even for a short distance, I mean, you can use it for 7 to 8 kilometers or 30 kilometers. An e-bike will definitely serve that purpose. Second is your another thing, when you use a e-bike, you don't sweat much, because you're not using human power. When you're cycling, you actually using so much of power that you might land up sweating a lot when you're reaching office. Whereas an electric bike is just at the throttle, and you're off off with that particular bike. Second is a public bike sharing. It has been done in various cities around India, especially when it comes to smart cities. You know, there's smart city mission, and most of the smart cities do have public bike sharing. In Mumbai also, we had below the metro. There is this Yulu bike. If you see now, earlier it used to be in the public bike sharing domain. Now that whole business is now towards food delivery. So you see the Swiggy, Zomato, and all, they use the Yulu bikes. Now that's the public bike sharing model which they should have put across Mumbai city, but now it's gone to the food delivery. So public bike sharing, if we look at, say, for example, Ward T, Mulund. So if you say that you have one docking station at Mulund, then another docking station at JBCN, and a third docking station at LBS Mall somewhere near Johnson and Johnson, it will never work, because you pick up a bicycle from the station, a public bike sharing, which is rental, which you do not own the bicycle. It is for use for public. Okay, you pick it up from at the Mulund station, and then you don't have work. Say you have work at Sarvodaya Nagar, but there is no docking station, which means that the next docking station is at JBCN, which means that person has to come right up to JBCN, dock the cycle over there, and then go to Sarvodaya Nagar. How uncomfortable it is. Why would people use it? They said rickshaw is best. I take a rickshaw from Mulund station and go to Sarvodaya Nagar directly. Now, cut to if you have a dense network, which means after every 500 meters or 600 meters, you have a docking station. How comfortable it becomes for people to use that particular service, which means people will stop using bus. Bus is good because it takes a lot. It's a public bus, so that 20, 50, 30, 50 people traveling at a time. I'm talking about rickshaws or maybe using a two-wheeler. People will start using a public bike sharing if you have a dense network which is being given to them. Now, whether it is a regular bicycle or an e-bike, because e-bike generally turns out to be a little expensive than the regular. If the regular bicycle rent is, say, 20 rupees, e-bike could be 50 rupees. But it all depends upon if people can afford a regular bicycle or e-bike. But public bike sharing is definitely a solution for first mile and last mile. What's the meaning of first mile? Which means you are staying, say, at Sarvodaya Nagar, and you have to go to Mulund station. That's your first mile, which can be taken care by the public bike sharing. Now you have work in Churchgate. You work at, so you get down at Churchgate and then go to, say, Nariman Point. That's your last mile. Again, there's a public bike sharing over there, which means end to end, your entire trip is being a very sustainable trip. A cycle, a train, and again a bicycle. So definitely e-bike and public bike sharing definitely is a very viable solution for any city in India.
That sounds like an exciting future for mobility.
Miss Firoza, you've given us so much to think about today. From how cycling can transform our cities to how we can contribute in this movement. Before we wrap up, what's your biggest piece of advice for young people who want to take climate action into their own hands?
For me, my journey was into cycling, and very organic one. I really didn't know that I'm really working towards contributing to the city and a sustainable mobility and a sustainable environment for everyone, staying right from working towards with the low income women, where we started the Me Cycle Rider. We really didn't know that was part of the women empowerment program which you would start. So it started off with that one bicycle to make so much of creating so much of difference within the society. For the younger generation, I mean, we all are lucky, because the parents right now, parents are also pushing the kids into creating avenues, whether it's sports, whether it's sustainability. There's so much to read up in the digital space. We were not, we were looking up to maybe encyclopedias and all the books around that. We didn't have the digital advantage which you all have. Every little thing which you really want to understand about, say for example, carbon credits. You just type Google carbon credits and you have got whole lot of answers to that, to that kind of query. Um, Anything which could bring about a change. I mean, uh, plastic waste to solid waste management to oceans to, there's so much of problems, so much of issues which is being created by us human. Forest deforestation, so much of tree plantation. There's so many things to pick up and start creating in a small way. I am not saying that you can change the whole world or universe. I think it starts off with your neighborhood. Start with your own society. Start with your own building. Start with your own school. Any kind of small contribution where you are able to make a difference. I think you start small. Um, create create that impact. uh, I would say, even you have the digital world, create the Instagram reels for it, create Facebook conversation, write blogs about it, even if it's a small blog which you really want to say that, oh, this is my impact which I have created for myself, for the society. Start with that. And I would really want the younger generation to bring about, there's some of the startups which are coming up in that space of sustainability, which is commendable. And I would want the younger generation to think about it, that, nowadays computer engineering and people really want to do into all of that. Someone needs to talk about agri-tech, someone needs to talk about sustainable lifestyle, and how we need to bring about a change for each one of us within the society.
Thank you so much, Ms. Firoza, for sharing your journey and vision with us. You have truly inspired us to see cycling not just as an activity, but as a path towards a more healthier and sustainable future. As a matter of fact, we can't wait to start cycling on Mumbai roads sustainably and inspire our peers to embrace a greener lifestyle.
And to all our listeners, we hope this conversation inspires you to take action in your own lives, however small those steps may be. Let's keep pedaling forward with two wheels, a purpose, and make Mumbai a livable city for our present and future generations to come.